Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, whichever realms of existence you are, whatever mind state you're in, whatever conditions you're in, you're always welcome to my channel. And today I'm here, I'm on business in Milton Keynes in the UK. And I just discovered this this kind of cosmological looking, I don't know what they would call it, monument in here. I don't know if you can see it very clearly in the video, but it's kind of, all those little different markers are kind of like historical markers of Milton Keynes and the UK and stuff. And different things. I'm not sure what the overall purpose of it, but the way it's laid out, if you can see, there's sort of these kind of intersecting kind of patterns and things. It looks very much like a cosmological kind of depiction. And so I thought it was an appropriate place to make this video that I want to make. Just a quick video, just to say that it's obviously related to cosmology. That's why I thought I should make it here. It just seemed to be fitting place. And I've been thinking of making this video for a while. So basically, what I wanted to say was about Buddhist cosmology. And samsara and the Saha world and all of that. You might hear in some of the videos with my Dharma guide Kyokan, he talks about framing things in terms of the modern, the modern world or the modern thinker, and that we don't necessarily need to take things as literal, which is true to a large extent, and we need to be flexible in our mindset about these things. But I kind of my way of doing that, though, is not to say, well, for instance, the hells are not a literal place, a literal realm within samsara. I think they're as quote unquote none of this is real. The only thing that's true and real is Buddha nature, nirvana, suchness, sunyata, the pure land, Amitabha's pure land. Those are the only things that are true and real. Samsara is not. Samsara is unreal. Is a delusion. Is dreamlike. Is an illusion. Is based on our ignorance and our blind passions and our attachments and so on and so forth. It's based on our deluded consciousness, and so what was I going to say? Basically, Buddha nature, nirvana, the pure land, Amitabha's pure land, Amitabha himself, these are all true and real. Samsara is not true and real. Samsara is unreal and untrue. Okay, so I get that. And so anything that we think of in terms of cosmology is untrue and unreal. In a sense, in the sense of the Buddhist teaching, and so for me, right, and it's based on our karma. Our individual and collective karma are what puts us in the world we're in. So this human world, while in my mind, intellectually, I know it's not true and not real, in the Buddhist teaching sense. And neither is my ego and my this provisional self, this provisional existence, but it's here. And this is what I experience as a human in the human realm. And I think it's the same for beings in other realms. I think it's just as they experience it just as viscerally, whatever their realm is comprised of, based on their karma, individually and collectively, and their consciousness individually, so so there's no need to make it to kind of do any kind of apologetics. For me, there's no need. To me, it's an experience. It's a provisional experience, just like any other. Just as visceral and seemingly real as this is for me and for us in the human realm, it goes the same. It's the same for every other realm in the Buddhist cosmology. So the gods experience their existence as they experience it in a very visceral, way. The Asuras, the same. The sort of in between deities, the semi, divine. I can't remember what they're called, but that kind of exist in kind of both. They're kind of divine, but they exist in the human realm. They're kind of here. When they're often unseen, and sometimes, or in rare occasions, people do see them. But their experience is the same. Animals. For animals in the animal realm, they experience they experience it just as viscerally as well. And the ghosts, their realm, their horrid realm. Their horrid existence. They experience that doesn't matter how untrue and unreal it is. They because of their karma and their consciousness and their delusions, they experience it just like we do. And so right down to the hells. So I think it's all the Buddha, the realms that are taught about in Buddhist cosmology are all provisionally exist, just as the human realm provisionally exists. And there's no need to do kind of apologetics or kind of, as a modern person, we need to thus and so, and we have to kind of see it as sometimes it's said it's mythology, or that word is used completely wrong anyway, but that's a whole nother story. But the and there's this kind of then then what are we experiencing? This isn't any more real than what that is. So why should we be? Do you see what I mean? So I just for me, there's no need. It's all the realms provisionally exist as taught in Buddhist cosmology. Obviously, the depictions and the descriptions and explanations of them are for humans to understand. So and we're going to understand that as best we can, what the other realms are like, but through those descriptions, through those explanations in Buddhist teaching, and through whatever limited understanding we have of the Buddhist teaching. So there's just no, but that doesn't mean that it's not, that it doesn't provisionally exist like the human realm exists. That doesn't mean that the hell realms don't exist in the way that they provisionally exist, just like the human realm provisionally exists. You can't kind of have, to me, you can't have one without the other. So I just wanted to go on the record saying that I in that sense, I am definitely not a modernist. Well, in most senses, actually, I am not a I'm not a modernist at all. Actually, not at all. In my outlook on Buddhist teaching, I can be flexible. I think there's things about Buddhist cosmology that this is another point I wanted to make, that that now that we have understanding of science, and or to whatever degree we have understanding of science, whatever level of knowledge, which is minuscule compared to the whole the whole cosmos, the whole universe, the whole way things actually exist throughout all the multiverses. Our science is like minuscule, but we do have it, and it's good for what it is. And that's where I think people have to be flexible. So obviously we're not going to, the teachings about cosmology, in that sense, there's provision. The teachings were provisional because it was kind of flat Earth, wasn't it? The teaching that the teachings that were given and then developed about Buddhist cosmology, with the basic structure of a world system, being having the four sort of quadrants and the four four sections where there's three continents each, and then there's Mount Sumeru in the middle, and there's sun and moon rotating around all of that, and there's incredible distances between all these the different continents. So it can't just the distances explained couldn't be our planet. So and the only way you can kind of look at it is, and the way it's described, and then there's this, there's the ranges of mountains with seas in between, 7 ranges of mountains with seas in between, or encircling Mount Sumeru, and then way out past all that is the 4 continents and each of their quadrants, and their quarters, and then at the very 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 distant reach of that is the Iron Mountain range, and then there's this bubble around the whole thing, and from Mount Sumeru up is all the the divine realms, and then below is the lower hill realms, and so anyway, so it's basically a flat Earth model. So you can't say that that's that is you can't say that that's, you can't look at that and go, oh, that's you can't look at that and say, sorry, what I'm trying to say is, sorry, I'm walking around, there's lots of distractions, traffic, people on bikes, anyway. So the tendency, for the most part, to try to somehow reconcile this flat Earth kind of looking model of Buddhist cosmology is to say, well, it's just a description of consciousness. These things should just be understood on a spiritual level, and you can't really apply it to the real world, you can't apply it to as we understand scientific cosmology of the universe and so forth. And so you just kind of have to keep those separate, keep science and spirituality separate. And to a degree that's true, because science can never transcend the it can never transcend the depths and the breadths and the truth of the Buddhist teaching. So in that sense, yes, you keep it separate. But and yes, to a in a sense, all of the realms, these are all describing the consciousness. These are, it is describing a structure of consciousness within samsara, the aspects of the mind stream in samsara. So yeah, you can say that is true, but I think there is a level at which, because these are provisional teachings, the way they were delivered to us, at the time, what was that Buddha taught? What was the predominant view? It would have been flat earth. That would have been the predominating view. So he taught in a way that people could grasp this idea. He couldn't, if he started saying, tried describing cosmology as we understand it, with the way the universe actually works, as we understand it, they would be baffled. They would just be. They wouldn't. It would just be too much. It would just be too, and not even the way that we perceive, through our science, the way we perceive the so-called, scientific cosmology is only provisional. We're only seeing that all through the lens of our delusions. Even science arises out of samsara. It arises out of samsaric consciousness, and it's good for what it is. So that's that. So what I'm trying to say is, I think you can look at Buddhist cosmology and go, all right, so there's a level at which you can, there's a level at which, because it was provisionally taught, you can take that and sort of provisionally project it onto, very easily, our, you can use the scientific models, or model of the universe, or theoretical models of the multiverse, it's very easy. It's very easy to do that. You could start even, and and that includes all kinds of things, like the different levels of the universes. There's 3 levels of, there's a small universe, medium universe, and then like a giant sort of universe. And you could look at that like, okay, the small universe would be just like what we understand as just our universe, one universe. And then the next level up could be like cedar. If you've ever heard the theoretical idea of cedar space, where there's this larger space where universes kind of exist. So it's kind of like multiverse, but not in the way that the typical way that you understand the multiverse model, or models. So these are just various universes, different universes, all different, completely different universes exist within this cedar space. That could be another level. And then the next level up could be the multiverse model, or you could do it from, well, anyway, one of the ways, instead of looking, it fits looking at the world system, the basic model of the world system, quite easily can be projected onto a galaxy. Very easily project that onto a galaxy. And with the energetic kind of toroidal effects of the galaxy, kind of the center part of that being kind of Mount Sumeru, and the gamma rays, that being Sumeru above, and then the ones below being the lower realm, is where the lower realms would exist on a different, kind of dimensional realm plane. But anyway, so you'd have that, and then you could have like what else? You could have the I guess I better cut through here actually. Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. So then you'd have the then you'd have so, and then you could look at, like, the 7 mountain ranges kind of around the center, the Mount Sumero being sort of, some kind of massive asteroid belts, or massive other kind of astronomical body belts around the center of the galaxy, and you could, instead of it being, instead of it being a, the sun and the moon, going around the whole thing, that could be some kind of other astronomical bodies that do go around the whole sort of, galaxy. And you can, you can easily see things. And then instead of it being continents, in the 4 quarters, it could be the four quadrants of the galaxy, kind of like in Star Trek. They've got the 4 quadrants of the galaxy, and then instead of it being, the continents within those quadrants, instead of it being, just 3 continents in each, it'd be maybe 3 clusters of star systems, where that exists. So, and then you can take that up to the universe level, and project the same thing, center of the universe being where Mount Sumeru is, and then etc. You could do the same thing, only bring it up to, so there'd be the 4 quadrants of the universe, and then you'd have the, instead of it being just continents, 3 continents, those 3 continents kind of represent 3 clusters of galaxies within the universe. So, to me, there are other ways to do this without just kind of just saying, oh, you can't accept these things as actual, and doing all this apologetics, and and having to have, oh well, we just, we don't want to be seen to, not have a modern, mindset, or etc. So I wanted to go on the record saying that, eventually making this video and saying that, with all due respect to other thinkers, all due respect to other, people that have other ideas about these things, but I did want to go on the record with that. So, Namo Amida Butsu.